Are broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, east of the Mississippi, west of the Atlantic. We'll leave the rest up to your imagination. My name is Brian Engelman.
And I'm Blake Walley.
And today is Wednesday, July the 5th, 2023. We're going to be talking about all the interesting things. Yes, all the interesting things you could imagine, such as... Oh, switching over. There we go.
We're going to talk about these weekend here.
Yeah, I know. Getting back into the swing of things. We're going to discuss, did the Biden administration violate First Amendment rights with their big tech censorship? Is Ukraine preparing for a massive false flag to blame on Russia? The stash of cocaine found at the White House? Who do you think that could have been? Who could that have been? Has Al Franken been back to the White House? Marion Barry on a trip? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see who we think that could belong to. We're going to discuss Elon Musk's new Twitter policy on limitations. Limitations? Isn't he like the free market, capitalist, open ideas, open free speech kind of guy? Why is he putting limitations? Does that prove that he's compromised? Twitter is a changing, it seems. Also, we're going to discuss, is social selling the most dangerous use of Twitter accounts? Should the U.S. deny entry to all commies and Marxies? Is Marxies a slur? I don't know. We're going to discuss that. You used to say transvestite.
That's endearing, yeah.
Oh, you can't say like...
no, yeah.
Yeah, you can't add innies or innies. You can't add... So are Marxies? Is that a slur? Well, I don't know. We'll discuss that too. Also, will the federal government continue protecting child thing CA rings online? Isn't that a word we're not allowed to use on Twitter? Don't they throw you down the memory hole if you discuss awful things going on because you want them to stop? I don't even freaking know anymore. Finally, we're going to discuss the new sport of ice wars. Will it be more exciting than hockey? All of these topics and more coming to you from the New American Media on this episode of the Agree to Disagree show.
All right. Well, on a quick note on that, I do want to say that last clip there with Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs. Definitely wanted to make a mention of that because I ran across an interesting story because he is still locked up in the federal penitentiary, the Gulag, D.C. Two-time Purple Heart recipient Joseph Biggs. Just remember, we are Americans, not Americans. So, political prisoner, former Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs sent a letter to the Gateway Pundit from the D.C. Gulag to wish everybody a happy Independence Day and call on Americans to remember Americans, not Americans. Happy 4th of July. He's got his co-defendants. He's got Enrique Tarrio, was the head of the Proud Boys, and Ethan Nordine, Zachary Rail, Dominic Pizzola, and 20 other defendants detained in the Patriot Pod of the D.C. Central Detention Facility commemorating. So they got a little entertainment, ping pong, basketball, and a workout. I guess they even got nacho. I mean, usually these guys are getting treated like total garbage. So I don't know, maybe somebody made some calls or they let, gave them a little extra. And that's good for them. They don't deserve probably not to be there or deserve that kind of punishment. So it's good that they're still going well and in high spirits, and they send their regards. So yeah, it was cool meeting him. And that was in Cleveland 2016 at the RNC. Brian and I were there, a little kind of after party meetup thing with the InfoWars crew at the time. And yeah, he was doing an interview, and he was absolutely hilarious. And yeah, it's too bad. He's a good guy. He's a war hero, and he's done a lot of great things with, Michael Hastings comes to mind, J6, meshed with the Proud Boys. Not saying everything he's done, he's perfectly innocent, but all the kind of goofball stuff that he does, but he's a good guy. He has no reason to be in that gulag. He is a political prisoner, and he should be freed immediately. So just good to see they're doing well. Brian, any thoughts on?
Well, I would also add, the Happy Independence Day. Also, special kudos to another member from that intro, Mr. George Norrie, who served 9 years in the United States Naval Reserve as a lieutenant. I'm not sure if everybody was aware of that, but yeah, we talked to a lot of people with military backgrounds. I'm not sure if anybody else from that intro has a background. We should specifically designate and say thank you for your service. However, I would suspect there's somebody there with some experience in service we want to pay special attention to, and want to say a special thank you rather to Dr. Jekyll. He's saying America in the chat room, so leave all of your comments in there. Also, you said American and Americant. We want to say hello to American over here. American. Hey. He's a master of the English language. Always punny, that American. So American says, I'm American. I'm not American. I'm American. Hey, the Ken and Barbie movie's coming out, so I'm sure we'll talk about that with Ken. I'm sure we'll do a pop culture segment, and he'll say something witty.
Big fan of Margot Robbie. I probably won't go to the theater to see it, but we'll see.
Jekyll saying America, F yeah. I saw that South Park was sharing that around, and Trey Parker's a heck of a piano player, by the way. They were doing like a big celebration and playing the America song, everybody up on stage. It was pretty wild, pretty.
He's an extraordinarily talented guy, and he's done a ton of beyond South Park too, with the Mormon musical and so many other movies. And it wouldn't surprise me if he plays instruments. Yeah, he's a creative genius. So kudos.
Yeah. Very cool. Happy birthday, America. What was your final point there, Blake? I ran over you.
I was just saying, he makes a great team. Him and Matt Stone. So been producing tons of our greatest pop culture entertainment for a while. So awesome.
Dr. Jekyll throws in a Durka. Thank you for that. Also, if you haven't seen Cannibal the Musical, that's their earliest work, I believe. And then Orgasmo is fantastic, and then Basketball.
Love Basketball.
So we'll bring up Basketball to reference that Ice Wars new sport coming up. So because that's what basketball was. They were just hanging out in their driveway. They're like, all right, let's combine basketball and baseball. You can take like a 3-point shot for like a triple, or however they exactly did it. But yeah, we'll discuss that coming up at the final.
Like horse? No, not like horse. Yeah.
No, it's not like horse. No, it's not like horse. Should have been gone. No more Journey psychouts. All right. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into the main topic of today's program, Blake.
All right.
And I really do hope everybody had an amazing Independence Day. And, somebody told me this back many years ago, and I said, Happy 4th of July. And they're like, what do you mean 4th of July? 4th of July doesn't say anything. That's just a date. I'm like, yeah, so like call it Independence Day. That's what it is. So I'm very keen on using the right verbiage, the right words, the right vernacular to sum up the right zeitgeist. And anyway, Blake, did you have a wonderful Independence Day yesterday? And did you do anything memorable, enjoyable, or especially relaxing or fantastic?
No, actually, I had a very long work day. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like overly stressful or anything. No going out, no exciting fireworks. I've already kind of done all that stuff. I'm not in the best area for something like there's local fireworks shows, but it's nothing that's ever going to compare to the things I've seen in Vegas or LA or even in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, where I'm from. I've seen a lot of pretty amazing shows. So I actually did watch some on, they had like Nashville that I was watching on TV. I thought that was more interesting. I catch a little bit of that, but no reason to necessarily go out, at least not this time. And it was a little rainy, not ideal conditions, but perhaps another time. But I still enjoyed my 4th. And so what about you, Brian? What'd you do?
Well, you're watching in Nashville. Do they have like the New York has that ball that drops? Like in Nashville, does it have like a cowboy hat that drops off something like
Nashville's
ring
taking
in?
over. Yeah, they're taking over. They're going to be like the New York, because the New York, their New Year's thing isn't as spectacular as it used to be. It's no longer the Dick Clark big budget stuff. So they were just been cutting it down. It hasn't had the same appeal, and Nashville is now the go-to place.
What a world. Shout out to Dreamer Ultra, who finally made it live. Thank you. What's up? And
Yes.
we want all of you to join us in all the places. Blake, he's on Twitter at TV's Blake Walley. You can follow his main page, The Next Level News at thenextlevelnews.com. Also, The New American Media. Haven't updated it in a while, but it's a nice archive site, and it will be there when we get kicked off of social media, because inevitably, if it happened once, it might happen again. But in the meantime, we are on youtube.com/The New American Media. It's like 1,800 videos over 13 years, whatever it is. Check it out. Good stuff there. On Twitter, we're at American_media_. On Rumble, we're doing the Rumble thing. We need to build up our Rumble, so make sure you're all subscribed to us, The New American Media, on Rumble. Spotify, we're there. We're not on Apple, but we need to do that for the podcast. I'm not entirely certain what needs to be done, but we're on Spotify. So go on Spotify and search for The Agree to Disagree Show and subscribe to our podcast, because that's pretty cool. On Facebook, it's called TNAM, TNAM for The New American Media. TNAM's The Agree to Disagree Show. Good luck finding it, because it's a private group and because Facebook hates us and we hate them. Also, The New American Media is on Instagram. They haven't deleted us there, but they have restricted our ability to share any content. So screw them. The New American Media on Instagram. So we're in all those places, on top of Signal and Telegram as well. So The New American Media, TNAM official. Yes, TNAM chat. So all of these things follow The New American Media and The Next Level News. So what was I doing yesterday, Blake? I just kind of took it easy. I was working on some inventory in the shop. I was working on some projects, going through. Had a interesting buy the other day. A lot of toys. It was a fun buy. I'm trying to figure out exactly where the profit margin lies. It's a business that I run. It's something that's fun, going through the 1970s and early 80s Star Wars figures and all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle toys. And there's markets for these things, but you got to sort them, you got to sift them, you got to price them, you got to photograph them, you got to list them and ship them and all that jazz. But I have fun with that. So I did a little bit of that, and then ended up having tacos at a fun Canados tacos. I think those are all over the place. Nothing more American than a taco joint. But to be factual, to be fair,
Tuesday is Taco Tuesday, right? Okay.
Taco Tuesday, exactly. But to be fair, I had the option of firing up the grill, but I don't have one of those easy ones. I got the charcoal briquettes, and I don't know, kind of didn't feel like it. And the mosquitoes have been getting at me in the backyard, so I didn't really feel like dealing with too much time out there. It was super hot and super bitey. So I was like, not today, not this moment. So it was a good, relaxing Independence Day, Blake. So I hope you all had a good time. Unfortunately, Kenneth B says he lost a thumb. I doubt that, but if so, there you go.
Thanks for making it. Or watching from the hospital bed or something.
Yeah, Blake likes to give the thumbs up, but give
I don't know how would I function if I lost a thumb. I don't know what would. Yeah, that would really throw out everything. Yeah,
you would need a new catch symbol, a new way to be photographed.
Hand gestures, yes.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta be careful. There's
like, like Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Happy Gilmore accomplished no such a feat just 30 minutes ago, or whatever that line is. Anyway, let's get to the news because that's what you're all here for. We're going to talk about the most important shizzle of the dizzle, my people. Okay, so Blake, do you agree or disagree that the Biden administration violated First Amendment? See, we didn't type that right. I keep reading it wrong. Do you agree or disagree that the Biden administration violated our First Amendment rights with their big tech censorship?
I believe so, and as the Twitter files have shown, it's come to light that the social media companies are being infiltrated by some of these federal agencies. It's all in the guise of this, greater good. They got to protect us from, foreign misinformation or what have you. But it seems that they are abusing their authority, and they should never have been able to do this in the first place.
Should have never been able to do it in the first place, and they should be sued into oblivion. These are our civil rights. People think of civil rights as like, oh, well, what's the content of the melanin in your skin? It's like, no. Civil rights encompass a wide swath of things. It's not just what does your skin look like and who do you like to go inside. It's also you have a lot of rights, a lot of civil rights, and the first and most important among these is the right to communicate, to speak, to offer opinions and ideas that may be distasteful, might be offensive, might be unpleasant for others to hear. It doesn't matter what others want to hear. They can change a channel or walk away if they don't want to hear it. But our basic civil rights include the right to speak. And the big tech has definitely crossed that line, Blake. I don't know if you had a story to pull up and get us caught up on this one, but this is such a massive pendulum swing. The Overton window has shifted radically on this. Let's see, because I guess this can go up the ladder, right? This can get appealed. I don't want to get ahead of the story here, but this has the potential to swing the Overton window 30 yards. This is a nice deep pass on the sidelines. Right now it's a 10-yard gain, but there's a flag on the field. So I'm trying to mix my analogies here, but anyway, walk us through what's going on and what we know.
All right, this is out of Summit News. Steve Watson saying federal judge rules the Biden administration acted like a, quote, Orwellian ministry of truth using big tech to censor Americans. And I love this other sideline here. The evidence produced thus far depicts an almost dystopian scenario. So he's just calling it out as it is, which is great because it's a federal judge. U.S. District Judge Terry Doughty of Louisiana noted that the administration most likely violated the First Amendment, as Republican attorneys general from Missouri and Louisiana produced evidence of a massive effort by defendants from the White House to federal agencies to suppress speech based on its content. So not only was COVID-related content suppressed, but also questions regarding the results of the 2020 election, the Hunter Biden laptop story, and several other topics.
Other topics such as people that abuse children and the people that want to expose it and stop it. Those people were silenced by Meta. Those people were silenced by Instagram. Those people, Zuckerberg and Facebook, I don't know. It makes you wonder who they're really working for when they're protecting the bad guys, but please continue.
Yeah, I mean, they might just, under the guise, like, yeah, the federal government comes in good faith. Hey, Mark Zuckerberg, we just wanted to warn you that Russians, he doesn't know he's trying to comply, or maybe he does. I'm not going to get naive here. But the point is that they can play these games and get what they want if they've got an agenda. And it certainly looks like they've been on one for a number of years here. So here we go. The censorship in this case almost exclusively targeted conservative speech that Judge Doughty noted.
Go figure. We are such a broken record with this. Never does the collusion go after the commies and the Marxists. Never. It's always against libertarians, right-leaning people that I don't know, are significantly less.
Yep. And it could even be fake people, which we'll get to a little later on. So there's a lot of ways that they can play these censorship games or manipulate public opinion. So the censorship, again, it was on the conservative speech, but further emphasizing the censorship efforts go beyond party lines. And the evidence produced thus far depicts an almost dystopian scenario, during the COVID pandemic, a period perhaps best characterized by widespread doubt and uncertainty, the United States government seems to have assumed a role similar to an Orwellian ministry of truth. Viewpoint discrimination is an especially egregious form of content discrimination. The government must abstain from regulating speech when the specific motivating ideology or the perspective of the speaker is the rationale for the restriction. So, Brian, we've been a lot of issues since 2020 running with censorship or different having different points of view on things, especially when the beginning of COVID. But yeah, as they've already outlined, it was, with the 2020 election and the Hunter laptop that they suppressed are some of the most obvious things, but it goes well beyond that. And they've infiltrated some of these companies, and they are restricting, they're suspending people, or they're restricting your views with the shadow banning techniques. I forgot they've got some fuzzy language for that as well. But and it was all blown up and shown from Matt Taibbi and friends during the Twitter files. When Elon Musk bought the company, went private, started digging in, finding all this stuff, and then he was publishing the emails, internal emails from some of the Twitter staffers, along with people in the FBI or Department of Homeland Security and other agencies, and the way that the media picked this up. And it was political warfare, and they were silencing their opposition. And that's something that should never happen in this country, where we celebrate freedom of speech as the bedrock, the cornerstone of our way of life here. So, and Brian, I guess I've got one more. I don't know what else to highlight here. This is out of the Federalist with the judge, barring the Biden administration from colluding with big tech to censor free speech. And he does a 155-page memorandum ruling. So I guess we've already covered the whole dystopian scenario, which are some of the highlight buzzwords from all of this. So yeah, interesting to note, but just awesome to see this judge do the right thing. And it also happened on July 4th, which is pretty spectacular. So really cool stuff. Our forefathers would be proud.
Yeah. It's nice to see something finally come down the pike and end up on the right track. However, where is the punitive component of this? It's not enough to just say, well, that thing that they did and we were all screaming about at the time, and the thing we screamed about for 3 years. Well, yeah, it turns out you guys were right yet again. Like Trump said, famously said, President Trump did, we're going to win so much, we're going to get tired of winning. Blake, independent media, we're going to be right so much, we're going to be tired of being right all the time. Okay, so we know that what they have done is unconstitutional. Where are the class action lawsuits, and how do we sign up? Harmeet Dillon, where is this at? I want first in line. Yeah. Facebook still has not explained why they deleted the page, the company page for the New American Media. Never described what term of service was violated. Not once. No communication, just silenced. Silenced on Facebook for 30 days, 60 days during that air quote election in 2020. Weren't allowed to communicate with the world in the network that you created, in something that is essentially, we've talked about this until we're blue in the face. Was it Section 230? It says that they have the protections of a publisher, but they pretend to be a platform, but they're actually publishers. They're censoring content, choosing what gets highlighted, as opposed to something like a common carrier, where a telephone company can't keep you from making phone calls because they don't like your politics. That's exactly what these little tech underlords have done. Where is the punitive component to this? That's my main question, Blake. It's nice that this judge did this, but so it's a two-part question. Number one, is this going to get appealed and work its way up? I'm sorry, if I missed that, but that was the question from the beginning. And number two, is there anything punitive here? Like what comes from this ruling? Like what happens next? Like what does this ruling mean in real life?
I have no idea what's next. So this is just a nice development, and then we'll see. Maybe this could be used, as evidence to say, hey, like we had a federal judge make this ruling, and that'll be used in their case to present. I don't know if they can go after some of these private companies or how they approach it, but we'll see how it develops. I really don't know.
Okay. Well,
It'd
I'm
be great
curious.
if make a ruling and preserve our First Amendment and say that this is okay and change things around. I'm not holding my breath for something like Facebook, but Twitter gives me hope, as well as Truth Social and maybe some other alternatives. Maybe
Rumble. Rumble is nice. Rumble is a nice alternative.
Yeah.
Dreamer Ultra saying that someone's stating the obvious this is someone stating the obvious in a formal institution, a true rarity in this timeline. Okay, I mean, so that is pretty great. Yes, Dr. Jekyll, we're going to get to that story in just a moment about what we found in the West Wing. Allegedly, it's where some workers were working. Right, not where hunters were hunting. It's where workers were working. But we did mention, we teased that at the top of the show. We will get to that. But look, I want in on the class action lawsuit. I still don't have access to the New American Media Company page on Facebook, or as Kenneth B calls them, Disgrace Book. Love you guys. Seriously, this is so fun. It's Blake, it's not like you and I do a show. It's like we do a show with a bunch of our buddies, and they're all chiming in. We cherry pick some of the stuff, and I'm sure we leave a lot of great comments on the table. Otherwise, this show would be 6.5 hours long, and you guys should host it, not us. But anyway, we try to mix in the middle there. But yeah, Blake, I am super excited for the class action lawsuits. I don't see them. So I just
not yet.
Harmeet Dillon, I know she's a big one. Give me some other names. I'm in. Maybe the Reverend Al Sharpton will protect our civil righs, right?
The Reverend Al Sharpton. Yeah, I don't know. I know I've signed some things, but I don't know if that was for some kind of Trump fund or something. But I know that there's going to be some moves, and there might be some retaliation. I hope so, but that's going to take a long time to drag out, especially if they're private companies. I don't know if we can get that information, but I would love to know what's in my file. I would love to see what internally, the comments being put on, whether, YouTube or Facebook or Twitter during the darker days of like, yeah, who's this Blake Walley guy? Or, if there's anything going on, I'd love to see that, what they actually think or say about me in due time. But yeah, if they were busted reducing our views, I think we absolutely should be on some kind of a class action lawsuit, because they've really, kind of derailed some of our, our career aspirations of being monetized, of growing a channel, of, being able to put out independent news, and they have taken that away from us. So
there are real world
right.
There are real world punitive damages here to imagine, somewhere in the ecosystem of some of the more consistent content creators in the independent media space. I don't know, average out your top 100, your top 200, put us somewhere in the mix, somewhere in the mix. We have energy, we have focus, we have connections, we have a nose for the news, we are clever, we're intelligent, we're funny, we're timely, we're accurate, we have everything that it takes to succeed, except the reach that they've been hiding. They've been removing our ability to, like, as I said earlier, can't share content on Instagram from the New American Media. They erased our page on Facebook or Disgrace Book. Twitter, I mean, we've been shadow banned and thrown down the memory hole like you wouldn't believe. It wasn't even worth touching until Elon came around and got a chance to kind of reset things. Al, not so Sharpton. Yeah, I would just love someone like Al Sharpton. Oh, what's that guy? Benjamin Crump? What's his name?
Heard the name, I can't remember. I'd have to see.
He's the ambulance chase or anything racial. He's like an upgrade. He's like version 2.0 to Al Sharpton or something like that. He anytime, I don't know, they say a person of color, like we all have color. I don't know why they keep saying these weird words, or phrases, but yeah, he chases the ambulance nationwide. If there's somebody with dark skin that something happens to, he's there, and he's going to be talking in front of a microphone. So let's see if he defends all civil rights, for the common folk like us. I doubt it. I won't hold my breath on it, but Tom Fitton, I don't know. Where is it going to come from? We need a class action lawsuit. We need teeth behind this. We need to bankrupt these companies that have violated our rights. These are God-given rights. You have no ability to play God, and what you did was patently illegal. I don't care if the CIA was coercing you. I don't care if the FBI was coercing you, nudging you, bribing you, threatening you, all of the things that we know, the FBI, CIA, Homeland Security, name your alphabet agency. We know that those are their tactics. You still had no authority to do what you did and acquiesce to them taking the lead. You couldn't. In 1930s Germany, I don't think we can say some of those words either, because the whole stupid system is rigged and you can't, it's just dumb, the things that you can't talk about that are real. But when they had their tribunals, oh, well, I was following orders. That was not an acceptable excuse. You could not just say, well, somebody somewhere told me to do something, so of course I had to do it. No, you didn't. No, you did not. So I'm waiting for it to come around again. It's coming around again, said Incubus in one of their awesome songs from the Make Yourself album. It's coming around again. Anyway, I'm not going to start singing it, but it's great. I need to see some teeth. There need to be repercussions. Lord help us. I am, fingers crossed, waiting. I want to sign my name on the dotted line. The New American Media, personally abused by these policies,
like John Hancock,
over and over again.
Yep.
Was that a magic wand?
No, that was the John Hancock, where he made his signature as big as anybody to say, yeah, bring it. Yeah.
Bring it. Hey, they brought it to us. What was that movie? We already done brung it. That was like a parody movie, and it was like
Not Another Teen Movie or something?
Maybe. Yeah, it was like maybe the Wayans were in it or something. It was like a parody, like an Airplane or a Hot
Scary
Shot
movie or something. Yeah, one of those.
Oh, we already done brought it. And like they went back and forth with that. Someone in the comments tell me what the heck movie that is. Anyway, so Lord willing, there's going to be some repercussions for this third Barack Hussein Obama presidential term that people are mistakenly calling the Joe Biden term. He's just a meat suit puppet falling apart in front of us. This is Barack Obama with the joystick controllers. I envision Barack Obama like in a Chicago basement or a Hawaii basement or a Kenyan basement or something somewhere with a remote controller, just kind of like he has a Joe Biden video game, and he'll actually go up to the microphone and he'll say what's the thing Biden loves to have Barry tell him to say? America is full of white supremacists. The white supremacy is the number one factor in male pattern baldness and those of us with alopecia. White supremacy is a scourge, and that's the reason why your groceries are expensive. The lemons are too expensive because of white supremacy. And I could just envision like Obama just playing a character and Biden's just a confused meat suit spinning around and kind of denigrating.
Right. He has mentioned that. Yeah. Just being in the somewhere in his sweatpants and, giving out the orders. So he could be on the earpiece with Biden occasionally. It wouldn't surprise me. He's definitely behind the scenes. He's working with the higher ups and the DNC and the administration. So yes, it is an extension, and there's definitely communication and definitely involvement of Obama with this administration somehow. And maybe just he's like the puppet master somewhere. So who knows how it all works, but he's definitely there.
Dreamer Ultra mentioned something about France. Blake, we haven't covered the riots in France, the race war in France. Maybe as the show progresses, one of us could pull up a story on that.
I do have a story. Yeah. No, So there was 8 days of riots. It appears to be fizzling out. But they're out of control. And this is what happens when you have we got to be worried about things like this, coming to America, where our immigration policy gets out of control, and you have a disarmed population basically at the mercy of the government. And these people weren't even able to protect themselves. They've had a massive influx of foreign invaders as immigrants, but they don't seem to respect the culture of France or the people. And there's a lot of people. It's kind of like similar to like the George Floyd riots. It was a cop pulling over a 17-year-old immigrant, and
immigrant or an alien? Immigrant
I don't know
or
if he was an
alien?
illegal alien. I don't know if there's a distinction, but I just know, I guess it was 17. He was, chasing. He didn't have a criminal record, but he was, clearly involved in criminal activity, and he was killed in this dispute. And people started freaking out and started rioting before they, rushed to the. They never, logic, like wait for the facts to emerge. They just emotionally react to things. So they just see a police officer killing some unarmed civilian, and they start freaking out like it's a big, like a racial attack or an execution when it clearly wasn't. So there's been like a big GoFundMe for the French officer who didn't, mean to kill him, but in this duty, or trying to protect the community, these things happen. And so, the community was outraged. I think they were suing or trying to take away his GoFundMe, or trying to capitalize on the death of this guy. So I don't know all the details, but I know Macron is losing it over there. But it wasn't necessarily, an insurrection of sorts, but it was a giant mess that they had in France. So we got to untangle all that. But I think one of the things that they're also trying to do is crack down on like the First Amendment. Well, they don't have a First Amendment, but crack down on like freedom of speech so that they can better control the flow of information, so they can prevent things like that from happening. But it seems to be done improperly, as usual, or putting more power into the hands of the government and not the people.
How did Macron win another term? Did he really win?
I doubt it. I'm sure in the same way that they do ballot harvesting and things here, and they have their own ways of manipulating votes over there. I can't remember. There's something to do with like the tearing of certain ballots that might have been kicked off of the ballot kind of. I don't remember exactly, but I know there was some suspicious things that occurred. Much like, with Gavin Newsom winning his re-election against Larry Elder. And there were issues where there were ways you could look at the envelope and know who was voting for who, or they have their own method. They're very sophisticated in the ways that they can manipulate elections. Not saying they did, or they just ballot harvested from a lot of people that just didn't care about voting. And they were able to secure those votes and get him over the finish line, because it seemed like he's been so unpopular for years with the Yellow Vest movement uprisings and people rejecting the World Economic Forum. It's strange that he was able to secure an election, much like Trudeau.
I was just going to say, how did Trudeau? Yeah. How is Trudeau still clinging to power? How did Bolsonaro get thrown out? You look across the globe and it's like,
oh. Yeah, there was a story I threw it on Bolsonaro. He's not allowed to run again until 2030. They're punishing him. Yeah. So they're punishing him for, questioning the integrity of the voting machines. And so they said, oh, you can't, how dare you? Like South America isn't full of just rigged elections. A lot of it from the CIA. But that's a story for another day.
And Central America, for that matter. And America, perhaps. But yeah, so you have those happening. What was the other? Bolsonaro, 8 years. I had another comment. I was going to get to one more point there. Bolsonaro, 8 years. I don't know. Like, why aren't they going to try that with Trump? That's right. Just make up something.
Oh, they would love to. Yeah.
The other point I was going to make is say that's exactly what Zelensky's doing. Suspending elections. America never suspended elections, right?
No.
What was there a singular time that we've suspended elections? But I mean, we've gone through Revolutionary War, Civil War, World War I, World War II. We always vote. I don't think it's ever stopped, has it? Once or twice? I don't think ever.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it got a little hairy in 2012 with when the Benghazi thing broke out, just like days before the election. Isn't there something weird about there? I don't know, but they ended up
that's
getting
what tyrants do.
Another weird
tyrants
story.
Would say Bolsonaro can't run, and Zelensky would say, I'm going to ban all political parties that are not me, and we're not going to have an election anymore. It's like, okay, we got a murderous dictator over here. We got this guy loves war. He's suspending anybody's right to challenge him. Is this like Saddam Hussein? Like, we're supposed to back this guy and put his little stupid yellow and blue flag in the corner of our screen for what? You need to steal from our American coffers, from our we're filing taxes so you guys can launder it and take it. I'm sorry, I don't remember voting for this. Yeah, we're in a strange place, Blake. We're in a strange place indeed. But all right, we got a bunch of stories to get through. Let's go to the next one. How's that for synchronicity? Ooh. Or am I the best segwayist of all time? I'll be the best segwayist of the day. How about this, Blake? Would you agree or disagree that Ukraine is likely preparing for a massive false flag to blame on Russia? Agree or disagree?
I am going to agree in light of some of the information that I am seeing about this. So it seems like there's
they're telegraphing the alarm.
Oh yeah, so they need to get the war under control, at least from their standpoint. So they're needing some way of getting people on their side, and this looks like it's shaping up. Since speaking of Zelensky, that they are gearing up for something. So let me pull up that story here. How about we'll start here from the Gateway Pundit. So after blowing up the Russian oil pipeline and bombing Poland and then blaming Russia for both of those things, Zelensky is now warning that Russia is going to blow up a nuclear plant under their control. So after the Russian, so after the Nord Stream pipeline is blown up, the U.S., NATO, with far-left media, and the Ukrainian government blamed Russia for the explosion. And then we come to find out, especially with Seymour Hersh doing the investigation, nothing seemed to add up. They were unable to really confirm that. They were just trying to get everyone to believe it and sympathize with the cause. But it is now believed that the U.S. government or Ukrainian regime that took out the pipeline to Germany and crippling the Russian economy. And in November 22, Poland was hit with missiles. Zelensky and the lapdog media in the West immediately blamed Russia for the bombing, and it was later discovered that it was Ukrainian missiles that actually caused the damage. But now on Tuesday, as in yesterday, Zelensky warned that Russians were going to bomb the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. So now Russia is in control of this nuclear power plant. So why would they want to blow it up?
Well, because Nord Stream pipeline. Wait, that's the same because they said so. Why?
Right.
Why would you? Hey, you know what? I'm squabbling with my neighbor. I'm going to take out a potato gun and start knocking out the windows in the back of my house. How does that get involved? That doesn't involve the dispute with your neighbor. I'm going to punch myself in my face because I don't like my third period teacher. That's not what nobody does that. That's not a thing. You don't attack yourself in war. I mean, okay, right. Yes, I get the false.
Well, you could blame it, right?
I get the Gulf of Tonkin. I get you go down the laundry list. But it's obvious that it's a lie.
Yeah, it should be obvious, but they think that the public will buy it, and they have a compliant media that will be happy to sell whatever they want. The administration wants them talking points that they want to put out.
President Donald Trump keeps referencing how reckless and out of control this situation has been. He says he can stop it in a day. Maybe that's hyperbole, maybe it's accurate, but he keeps saying it's crazy that this Biden administration and Zelensky keep using the N-word. I thought we're not supposed to be using the N-word. It's something that doesn't occur in polite conversation, although it is protected, the freedom of speech. You have a First Amendment right to say anything you want, but why are we saying nuclear? Why are we saying nuclear? Nuclear. Yeah. That's a Simpsons joke, and it twisted in my brain. But yeah, this N-word keeps coming up, and it's very offensive.
Yeah, because it would be catastrophic for the entire planet. I mean, it might just even one is awful, and we've already seen the damage that like Chernobyl has done, or what happened in in Japan. So yeah, these are serious problems. And if one goes off in one country, the other country could retaliate, and that could escalate very quickly, and we won't have much of a planet left if things get out of control. So people have had to go through great restraint to not be able to use these weapons in war, and like the Cuban Missile Crisis. So
proliferate, retaliate, infiltrate. It reminds me of that NXS song.
Yeah, I remember that. It's been
like the note cards.
It's been like 30 some years. Yeah.
Infiltrate, retaliate, proliferate.
Yep, I can't remember. Yeah, I know that one. Yeah, they had a good run. They had some good stuff. But yeah, this is not good stuff to have Zelensky here, leader of Ukraine, trying to fearmonger. He's saying that they have information from our intelligence that the Russian military has placed objects resembling explosives on the roof of several power units in this wherever this name of this power plant is.
It resembles Russian disinformation. These alleged things have all the hallmarks of Ukrainian disinformation campaigns.
Absolutely. So I won't play that. But we kind of get the idea. So they are gearing up for something. The war is not going well for Ukraine, and they need some kind of desperate maneuver. And if a nuclear, let's say if they can try to blame it on the Russians, that this nuclear power plant goes off and all the people are affected, it has the chance to turn the tide of the war of public opinion in America or Western Europe or what have you against Russia. Well, yeah, but if they thought it was Russia blowing up that would go, oh my God, Putin's so evil, and it would.
But who would think that? Nobody would think that.
Well, they probably wouldn't now, but they did when the Nord Stream pipelines came out for a minute. People wanted to believe that Putin is this monster who's invading Western Europe and he's going to come in and take over. And it took a while to unravel and say, no, it was highly unlikely Russia did it. And then later Seymour Hersh came out with the investigative journalism and said, no, it's definitely not. Nobody could find any evidence of it. So it was clearly all orchestrated. And they pulled these playbooks before, but yeah, there's people that wanted to believe it. They want to believe Putin bad and Ukraine good. They proudly boast their, Ukraine flags all over their profile, like mindless NPCs. So, yeah. So we definitely have to preemptively take this ammunition away. But I think, they've definitely lost their credibility. So people should be quick to, not so quick to judge what you're hearing from these media outlets or for pro-Ukraine.
All right. Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled on it, Blake. Any final thoughts on this potential false flag alert?
Well, I definitely did want to say, you just mentioned the Gulf of Tonkin. So, and here's a part of it. Ukraine losing the war, like South Vietnam, a Gulf of Tonkin moment is necessary to put NATO soldiers in Ukraine. So they've seen this playbook a number of times with the sinking of the Lusitania to get us into World War I, or perhaps dropping the ball intentionally and letting Pearl Harbor get attacked so they could get the American public to want to go into World War II. Or if it's the Gulf of Tonkin, which was completely staged. It was all made up to get people to believe that this ship was destroyed in the Vietnam War, and that got us into this other war. There was weapons of mass destruction. We have to get into Iraq to secure that. There's so many reasons that people don't generally like to get into war, but if they can make it sound like the Russians are, if Putin's the next Hitler and the Russians are going to nuke the people, then that will get people to, want to support this war even more. They have to justify all the money they're spending and the reasons they're in this war, and they are losing on every front. So they are probably looking at every desperate maneuver, and this is the latest one. So we have to be very vigilant at this time.
Support the war even more, keeping score. We need the cards on that NXS song.
What is the name of the song?
I don't know. I didn't look it up.
Okay, you have to look it up. I could look it up on my Spotify here, but that's the trivia question for the day. But here is a tweet from our own Brooks Agnew here. Going to Jackson Hinkle, who is definitely on the Putin's side of the Ukraine war. It's taken a lot of flack for it. So Ukraine wants you to believe that after Russia bombed its own pipelines, they're now going to bomb their own nuclear plant. So it seems ridiculous. And then Brooks Agnew, who's also more sympathetic towards the Russian cause, is saying a file photo from the spring. These are cranes on the roof with radiation monitors. They are not explosives. Zelensky is lying. The false flag will be the report of radiation leaking over the border to allow Victoria Nuland to petition for NATO's Article 5. And that can, I guess, get us into the war. So everybody watch your eyes, be careful, seek out the right sources, and don't jump to any conclusions. Don't get emotional and reactive. We do not need to be messing around in another war, especially not against Russia over Ukraine.
You mentioned, I agree. You mentioned Brooks Agnew. That always reminds me of like a 1940s baseball player. It just
Maybe.
Sounds like he's a 1940s baseball player for like the Cincinnati Red Stockings or something like that. It just has one of those old timey
genius. Yes, he is a great character, extremely smart, extremely knowledgeable. He's a great asset on the show that I do Friday night, the Power Trio with Mike Barra. So we're glad to have him.
Where do people find it, Blake? Plug it.
Probably MikeBarra.blogspot.com, but I always have the archive on my website at thenextlevelnews.com. But we're doing pretty well on Rumbles, the archives over there as well. So
yeah, so it's like Brooks Robinson mixed with Spiro T. Agnew.
Yep.
That's what I'm doing there. By the way, the NXS song is called Mediate, and it says hallucinate, desegregate, mediate, alleviate. Try not to hate, love your mate. Don't suffocate on your own hate. Designate your love as fate. A one world state as human freight. The number 8, a white-black state, a gentle trait, the broken crate, a heavy weight or just too late, like pretty Kate has sex ornate. Now devastate, appreciate, depreciate, fabricate, emulate, the truth dilate, special date, the animal we ate, guilt debate, the edge serrate, a better rate, the youth irate, deliberate, fascinate, deviate, reinstate, liberate to moderate, recreate or detonate, annihilate, atomic fate, mediate, clear the state, activate, now radiate, a perfect state, food on plate, gravitate, the earth's own weight, designate your love is fate, at 98 will all rotate, hallucinate, desegregate, mediate, alleviate, try not to hate, love your mate, don't suffocate on your own hate, designate your love is fate, a one world state is human freight, the number 8, a white-back state, a gentle trait, a broken crate, a heavyweight or just too late, like pretty kid, okay, it kind of continues there. So interesting.
Imagine going into concert and having to sing that song without a teleprompter.
Oh, whatever. I karaoke the bust a move. That's pretty tough. Yeah, I know. How do you even do that? Like it has to be on a screen. It has to have like
karaoke. Fast. And it goes real fast. Do you have that timing set up with the band behind you? They must have had to rehearse that quite a bit. But I remember that song. It was the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, that black and white video going through the note cards. But it's interesting, a one world state as human freight. You know, this song, Atomic Fate, Annihilate.
And he was killed under suspicious circumstances, right? Didn't he go down like Anthony Bourdain?
He got Anthony Bourdain, yeah.
Yeah.
He either did it himself or he didn't. I don't know.
With lyrics like that, it does cause you to wonder. Yes.
Wow. Well, okay. That happened, and that kind of coalesced because a lot of the topics in that song are exactly what we're talking about with that psychopath Zelensky. All right, moving on to the next topic here. Once I get the graphics up, there we go. Next topic. All righty then, said the guy from the movie. Okay, so Blake, would you agree or disagree that Elon Musk's new Twitter policy on limitaciones proves that he's compromised? Blake, agree or disagree? Elon Musk's new Twitter policy on limitations proves that he's likely compromised.
I am going to disagree. I think there's a different motive behind this, but yeah, I think we're all still trying to figure this out. So I haven't really formed an opinion. I've been pretty busy lately, but this has caused an uproar on Twitter, to say the least, that he's limiting some of the views for people who aren't certified. Now, he's saying it's got something to do with data scraping, or maybe he's trying to get more money for people to subscribe, or, there could be a number of motives, or maybe he is compromised. I don't know. There's a lot of ways of looking at this. So the reason I kind of got my mind changed is I was actually watching a video from Paul Joseph Watson, who I think we can roll this clip here.
But that's weird. You never check out his content.
No, I've been following InfoWars and PJW, and I'll make a bold statement right here. I think I inspired Paul indirectly to become the vlogger that he is today. There is a true story. My first vlog, I don't know if it was like 2011, 2012, was actually published on InfoWars. And then 2 weeks later, Paul Joseph Watson did his very first vlog. And when I was listening to the InfoWars show, Alex Jones would talk about how he had to pressure Paul to start doing the vlogs. Like, he was actually kind of like joking, threatening, like he's going to fire him unless he started doing vlogs. So I always thought that there was something behind that. There was a connection, and there definitely is, or it's a hell of a coincidence. But I never got any credit, which is, fine. But I think that's a true story, and you guys can check out the timestamps. In fact, I have the clips or the screenshots, so I can make a case. Not that I care. I think it's great. I'm very proud of Paul and everything he's done. So
he puts out really interesting content. A lot of editing goes into.
He's a great writer.
He has a style. Yeah, he is a great writer.
Yeah,
everything that because they're performances. Every vlog is. You have some bullet points, and then you riff off of the bullet points. I don't know if everybody probably has a
tight script. He does a very tight script.
Yeah,
with the jump cuts. Just boom, boom, boom. His brother's very, very introverted, so he doesn't do anything on the camera. But Paul does. But yeah.
All right. So what did he have to say about this here? He changed your mind, if you will. He pulled a Steven Crowder, and he changed your mind. By the way, Paul Joseph Watson changing your mind was the inspiration to Steven Crowder starting his show.
Oh, okay. That's also good to know too.
I don't know. I was just giving it a shot.
Yes, it all ties together somehow.
Yes.
All right, so here we go. Why Elon did it. This is only about a 3-minute clip, so we'll just roll it, sit back.
Elon Musk temporarily limited the amount of tweets users could read in a particular time frame, and everyone lost their minds. Yes, the same people who vowed to severely restrict their Twitter use or leave the platform altogether after Elon Musk bought it are seething mad that they can't see more than 800 tweets a day, or 8,000 a day for verified users. Cue another series of trends, another billion tweets claiming that it's all over for Twitter for the 250th time since Elon took over. But the real reason Elon did it makes total sense and implicitly reveals why his adversaries really got mad. He's limiting the amount of tweets.
Yeah, it's just reminding me. I was going to mention this. I don't know, a couple stories ago, and work it into something. But remember, this is on the heels of Zuckerborg. I love calling him Zuckerborg, because I like to think that both Elon and Zuck are both like robots in skin suits, along with Biden.
Well,
love it.
Musk is the Anunnaki agent, right? It's the alien living in the human body. But yes, Zuckerberg, he never blinks, so he's got to be an alien, like or a cyborg,
a lizard.
Yeah.
So that's the question: alien, lizard, or cyborg? Anyway, all that just to say, we're only kind of kidding. But that's also to say that that project is getting ready to get released by Zuckerberg to directly compete against Twitter at this time. So Elon is taking some actions to limit nonstop browsability at a time when would you call it his number one rival in the social media space is going to try to port in all of their followers from Instagram and Meta and kind of build this Twitter rival. Right. So, this is all happening in conjunction with this. I don't know if PJW goes into that in the next 2.5 minutes, but I just had that thought, and I didn't want to have to try to hold on to it for 3 minutes while he makes 100 extra points.
Sure.
Any thoughts on that, Blake?
Repeat that one more time. Summarize that little question here. I was looking at Kenneth B's thing where he said the lizard people, and I got sidetracked because that's from
I was just adding it as a caveat that this is all happening in the shadow of Zuckerberg trying to launch a direct competition to Twitter. It's just it's an aside. It was worth noting, and PJW might get into it, but I wanted to mention it, and I didn't know if you had thoughts on the topic.
Yeah, they're definitely the two biggest rivals for sure. And yes, Zuck is coming out with that as part of his Meta platform to rival X. So it's good to have competition, and they're actually might be getting into a competition in Vegas or somewhere else. They're even talking about the Roman Coliseum to have a physical brawl.
Robot Wars.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. They got to put people on the undercard, Brian. Maybe we should, volunteer to be on the undercard too. So. You think because that's one fight, right? They got to have at least 5. But what if you had like different levels of influencers, or you got to have a certain way of trying to find out who's skilled, or if people are in a certain weight class or what have you? Because
who would we be matched up against? Who do we have? Who holds a grudge against us, or who do we have a grudge, or who's like in the same who is the Marxist, leftist, globalist version? I would probably go after Krasenstein because he shares my first name and he's doing it a disservice.
All right, well, you take Brian Krasenstein and I'll fight Ed Krasenstein. We'll see if we're roughly around the same weight class or whatever. We'll volunteer. We'll be on the undercard.
Although Bryan Cranston has some really awful political takes as well, but anyway,
that's a lot bigger though. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how big some of these guys are. So
yeah, I don't either. Okay, moving on to PJW. Sorry.
Okay, we'll sidetrack. It's a fun sidetrack. Here we go.
One person can see, firstly to ensure that they're a real person, but primarily to prevent data scraping and system manipulation. Ever since 2016, the censorship industrial complex has weaponized artificial intelligence. And as Mike Benz explains, you couldn't technically control the internet properly before 2016 because the ability for mass automated censorship was not in place. But since then, all that has changed.
There's a AI censorship Death Star that has been under construction and innovation and renovation, every week, every month, every year.
Like, can you rewind that real quick?
Yeah,
just 10 seconds.
Yeah, the Death Star.
There's a AI censorship Death Star.
AI censorship Death Star.
Not that part. Keep going.
That has been under construction and innovation and renovation.
There you go. There you go. That part. Innovation, renovation, and we could do a whole NXS line there with the things that end in Asian, station, creation, innovation. I don't know.
Crazy.
Sorry, go ahead.
The coincidences are just off the chart today, Brian.
Stacking up, it's synchronicity.
That is it, yeah. And I haven't heard that NXS song in a long time.
Now it's got to be in everybody's heads. We got to watch it. We got to go to watch that video. It's a classic. Okay,
for sure. Yeah, we'll have to tweet that out. All right, here we go.
Every week, every month, every year for the past 6-7 years now. And it all relies on massive scraping of Twitter data in order to build these models and databases to track trending narratives, to systematically surveil and build sort of intelligence dossiers, and to track and to turn down all at once communities online, political communities, social or public health communities, any climate communities. You name it. Whatever the sensitive policy issue of the day is, you can use this massive Twitter scraping capacity to ingest everyone's tweets and then disambiguate out all of the words that they're using, the hashtags, the themes, the memes, and to build this sort of code book of online communities that can then be used for mass censorship, that is used for mass censorship.
So basically, by implementing this policy change, Elon has blocked these giant censorship industrial complex groups from being able to build a dossier, which they then turn over to AI, which then does the censorship job for them. So now the deep state has lost the ability to perform mass censorship in real time, meaning they've lost control in having such a dominant hand in what narratives are allowed to achieve viral spread.
All right, pause there for a sec.
Yep.
By the way,
that's pretty much it.
Okay, disambiguate is a verb to remove uncertainty of meaning from an ambiguous sentence, phrase, or other linguistic unit. Word senses can be disambiguated by examining the context. Sorry, he used a word. I don't use that word very often. Disambiguate.
That's not part of your everyday vernacular. Yeah.
Play or hate. Don't regulate. Disambiguate. That could have been in the song, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Yes, that rhymes with mediate. That's awesome. Okay. So that's the gist of it here. Well, let's hear how he wraps it up. He uses his words well, right?
Sure.
Influence is everything, and now they've lost a huge chunk of it thanks to this policy change by Elon Musk. That's why they're really mad, and that's why if you support free speech, you should applaud Elon for making this call.
So the claim then is, I mean, they already know the buzzwords. They already know who the accounts are connected to that are going to need to all be stifled at this. I mean, I guess that could change like rapidly, but don't they know people that use certain? I don't know.
Now that he's been there for a few months,
I'm not completely sold on the explanation there.
I'm not either. Nor should we. It's good to pry and to ask, but that's a good possibility. Because why would Elon, especially when he's trying to fight Zuckerberg for the social media wars, why would he do something to upset so many people and try to all of a sudden restrict when it's great? Like, oh, the platform's more popular than ever. And then all of a sudden, nope, now we're going to restrict everybody to, 600 views a day unless you're certified. Then you get 6,000. Then he raised it to 800 and then 1,000. But people were still freaking out. And it was hilarious some of the tweets that he was putting out about the irony of the whole thing. So, yeah, but it's created quite a stir. And maybe it is that's just a part of it. So I don't know the full motive behind it, but I know he'd obviously be a lot happier if he had more certified people and bringing in some of that revenue. So he doesn't have the same benefits that public Twitter used to have. So I don't know exactly. I don't think he's compromised because some people were thinking that. But it's just a matter of trying to figure out what is the real motive behind this. So, I don't know, probably a combination or somewhere in between, but that's what I've got for now. It's my part of my show and tell.
So
what do you think is the reason? So, okay, read that question, agree or disagree. The Twitter policy proves he's compromised.
I'll disagree that it proves that he's compromised. I'll disagree that it proves that he's likely compromised. I will say this is a giant red flag. This is the opposite of freedom of speech. So he's saying you're going to limit it to what? You can only see 80 posts a day or 800 or 8,000 or 8 million, whatever the 8.
Yeah.
Hey, 8 was in that song too, in Mediate.
There you go. All right.
The number 8. It literally says the number 8. Okay, so 80, 800, or 8,000. God, this is such a weird episode. I love it. What the hell was I saying? So it's limiting the number of tweets that you can see in a day because we can't allow data scraping. Okay, you're telling me the data scrapers can't throw $8 at you to get their subscription and get all that information anyway? Yeah, they can. That's not a prohibition to entry. $8 is nothing, or whatever is how much it is.
Well, that's some priceless information to gather. If you had an AI program strong enough to gather up all that info, I can only imagine what you could do with it. Especially if you knew like even the private messages. Yeah, imagine a dossier on every single person on there, and the power you would have with all that information. It's like predictive programming. There's all kinds of stuff, or just how to target people with advertisements. There's a lot that could be used against people.
I mean,
they wouldn't even know it.
Well,
right.
So what if it just read the newspaper and it got really smart and it knew all the things? Well, yeah, that's what of course you'd. What if they had access to all the books on Audible and they could get really smart and play the stock market? Yeah, that sounds like
there's copyright now. Yeah, because the Chat GPT apparently was reading all kinds of books that you shouldn't have access to. So people were saying that's it's kind of like cheating.
Shouldn't have access to? Who determines what access we're allowed to have, Blake?
Right. You would think if it was just like a general book in a library, it probably could. Just like Johnny Five of Short Circuit. He read the whole New York library, got pretty smart. But, that's different. Or would it be copyright infringement if he knows all that information and he's sharing it with people?
Johnny Five is alive.
Yep.
Facebook user here is dropping in, saying, just dropped in, but freedom to publish, which is the freedom against censors, is adjacent to freedom to read. Limiting what you can see is adjacent to censorship. It's also totally shooting himself in the foot, referring to Musk. When you share any link to anything, the featured images render where you share it to. These anti-scraping measures have made sharing tweets a lot harder anywhere off of Twitter. And I've read where Elon has also said that he's changed the algorithm to limit, like Blake, when we knock this show out and we put it up on. There's who that is. What up, dude? That's Chevy right there, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, hey, what's up, man?
Pontiac. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know what we're supposed to make of this. It doesn't ring. So, I don't know. I'm not buying the explanation part and parcel. I think something's a little weird with this. I don't like censorship in general, Blake. And
I agree.
I get what Paul Joseph Watson is saying, and I heard the explanation from Elon himself. But my jury's still out on this. My jury is very much out on this. Imagine now South Park. Okay, here's one for Ford, by the way. Ford,
right? Yeah, he's the
licensed
footage on there.
South
Yeah,
Park.
hell yeah, that was awesome.
What the hell was I getting at?
Get sidetracked.
I know I'm on too many sidetracks today.
Yes.
What was I saying about
analogies? Yes.
I know I'm all mixed up in the analogies. Shoot, I forgot my train of thought now, trying to explain who Ford was. Anyway, Blake, thoughts to you? Maybe I'll get it back.
We don't entirely know. I don't know what Elon has learned internally about everything that's going on in Twitter. And he's only been there for a short time. And as he unravels everything and finds out what's going on or where the traffic is coming from or who's doing the most activity and how people are using that platform and, speaking to all the people. And it's a big process. So he had some reason for doing this. And the question is why? I don't think he would try to sabotage it if he was in, battle with Zuckerberg. But, I know he needs to make money. And I know a lot of people have been upset about that or were held out, especially the entire left. Like, why am I going to pay? They didn't want to do that. So they've all proudly lost their blue legacy check marks. I think it's great. I think people should participate. It's not the public platform anymore. People should celebrate this platform, especially they're using it. I mean, I think a lot of people spend a ton of time on people that love Twitter spend an enormous amount of time there. And $8 to me is nothing compared to the entertainment value you get out of that. And the information, the alpha, it's amazing. I love Twitter. I can't get enough of it. So it's just the constant stream of never ending information and thoughts.
Yeah, I guess I'm in a different. Yeah, I've never really cared for. But then again, my stuff's been so deep, thrown down the memory hole, if you will, so deranked, and it's felt so pointless to mess around on Twitter. And sometimes I put out great tweets, and it's like a fart in the woods. It's just nobody, it's not echoed by anybody. It's not repeated. It's not shared. It's just, constant content after content. It's like, I don't know. Either I suck at Twitter or nobody's being allowed to see. They're preventing people from seeing my stuff and sharing my stuff. Anyway, what I was starting to get at earlier was just that, Elon had come out and said that he's going to de-rank people who share links on Twitter. So when we knock this show out, we're going to, hey, check out today's show. And they're going to go, oh, isn't that quaint? There, let's press this button to make sure nobody ever sees that. Would hate to have somebody see that. That's literally what they're doing. They don't like it when we jump down there and say, hey, come off of Twitter and check out this thing on Rumble. Elon's like, nah, nope, not a fan. And it's
right.
It's very limiting. It's very, this is all censorship.
And I thought it was bad. Yeah, the Substack thing was too much. And I know he wants to keep people on the platform, so he doesn't want people, going to YouTube or Rumble or Substack or getting off site somewhere. So he's, I understand where he's coming from, but some of it's a little too heavy-handed.
Ford continues, I don't think it proves that he's compromised in the sense that there's some vast conspiracy or something, but I think it's an example. And by the way, are your comments getting cut off right at the edge there? I'm missing like the last 3 or 4 letters of words. Are you seeing that on your side? Because I have not to read.
I can't see any of the comments that are on the main page at all. I keep getting an error message that says there's nothing. So I have to go on the internal, just the admin chat to see the chat because my chat overlay is completely empty.
So weird. And then when I click on chat, I'm only seeing about 20% of the content that's coming through. I can see it on the YouTube feed, on the Twitter feed. I can see it on the main chat here, but so many glitches, man. Glitches.
Okay, so glitches. I can click on these, I guess. I wasn't quite sure. So we can see some of the comments, but I can't see them on the right column like I normally do. And this is the first time I've seen that happen. So I don't know if it's a glitch with Restream or if it's on my end, but you're not having the same issue, but you're having a different tech issue. But
yeah.
Thank you anyway, everybody, for the participation, whether we see it or not. We're doing our best. But,
yes, absolutely.
So yeah.
But Ford's saying he suspects it's a gut instinct. Without taking enough advice from, the World Economic Forum people that he hires to run his company. What's her name again? All my names are blurring together.
Linda Yaccarino.
Yaccarino.
Yeah.
Hey, Yaccarino. All right. Oh, we should make a parody. Who was that guy that made those parodies on the Rush Limbaugh show? We should reach out to that guy to do it. Hey, Yaccarino. All right.
Yeah. Definitely. I like that. Oh God, that was the Macarena. That was such a dumb song.
The Yaccarino,
so popular for a while. Yeah.
Hey, Yaccarino. All right. Anyway, I digress, and I really did lose my South Park train of thought. If it comes back to me later, I'll bring it up. But
all right.
But when I do think about South Park, I always think about it, and I've thought about this part in the season arc probably 10 times since we started today's show, and I don't know why, but I just keep thinking about the Walmart episode where the little shop Walmart gets so big and then they destroy it, and then the little shop, everybody goes there and then they make it bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it becomes the next version of it. It's just kind of like humans' cyclical desire to build things up and destroy them and build things up and destroy them. I've thought about that 10 times this episode, but that's not exactly the point I was trying to make, but I digress. Maybe if I watch this after the fact, I'll remember what it was and I'll add it in the show notes, or not, because I never listen to my content. Yes.
So as I say, it's going to be a lightning round. I got about 15 minutes, but I want you to start first with the social selling because it sort of ties into this one. So let's go there. I know you're going to like this one if you don't know what I'm saying. So.
There we go. Absolutely. Blake, agree, disagree. Social selling is the most dangerous use of Twitter accounts.
This is a tough one. I'll just agree for now. It's certainly it's pretty bad stuff.
Well, define the terms for us, for everybody listening. Let's figure out what we have here.
Oh, you'll see a very familiar face.
Hey, Yaccarino. All right.
You were criticizing this person. I think we talked about it on our last show. You were mentioning, why is this person saying this? So it's the popular anti-Trump Democrat Twitter account that was exposed as fake. So frequently posting these crazy viral tweets. Yeah, just bringing up all these like wild accusations of racism, whatever. I think you were criticizing her for the affirmative action, and she was just constantly saying this batshit crazy stuff. And there's a lot of people online. I was kind of comparing her to like Harry Sisson, or we could talk about those brothers, the Krasensteins, who still claim to be independent journalists, but they seem to have all the DNC talking points. So I'm skeptical. Or the Dash Dabrowski, but he's crazy. He's real. But there are some people that are actually fake, and they're big influencer accounts. And this Erica Marsh, she's a young female Democratic operative. Claims she was a former field organizer for Joe Biden's 2020 presidential campaign and an Obama Foundation volunteer.
By the way, before you scroll, look at that picture of Anderson Cooper. It looks like he has a Rudolph nose or like a clown nose, right?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
It's got the button right over his nose. Anyway, back to clowns. We were talking about a clown.
Oh my God, that actually is really good. That's hilarious.
Anyway,
it says Clown News Network. Yeah, they placed that.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, good call. All right, I don't know how I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
So the account mostly posted regular pro-Democrat tweets, mixed with a small amount of outrageous, hate-filled, and divisive tweets, often with false claims that frequently went viral. However, Miss Erica Marsh never existed. So the account would often post confused comments that appeared to be intended to advance the Democrats' race and gender-based agenda. We'll go. There's a few examples here. Oh yeah, like Ron DeSantis, she says, is a modern-day Hitler. If elected president, we will be living in a modern-day Nazi Germany. Or to say the Republican, this is like the Steven Crowder thing. The Republican Party is a modern-day Nazi party. Change my mind. And a lot of these things went viral. She had a huge following. But it turns out it's this creepy guy named Greg Bolden. Or no, not sorry. Greg Bolden appears to have cracked the case, linking it. No, Greg Bolden is our hero who exposed this. Sorry, Greg. But he linked the account to a Belgian firm. And here it is. Here's his tweets. So he did the investigative work, found out. It's awesome. So defuse this person. And I guess it's Michael Zachrow, who's part of the digital marketing SEO guy in Cologne, Germany. So this is what they are doing to manipulate public information.
He's in Germany?
Yeah.
Now where'd that picture come from?
It's probably just they probably found like a model, or it could even be the AI is good enough now that they could probably find that. But if I went through like stock footage or something, you could probably find a model like this, somebody obscure in, foreign country, Belgium or something, and nobody would ever know. Maybe she would never know. So what they are using that profile, and we've never seen a video, and that kind of worries me. Some of those Democratic influencers, they're pretty emboldened the way they speak online, but you can't find any actual like video of them on YouTube or what have you. So
we're finding the literal sock puppet accounts now. Like we've known about them, we've talked about them. They're sock puppets. They're not real. And a lot of this had been filling up this space. I mean, how many followers on I guess Twitter 1.0? Those algorithms, those numbers, they were always fake. They were always just helping their side appear to be super popular, even when they weren't. Oh, huge engagement. No, there's not. No, there's not.
Yeah.
Catfish. It's what's for dinner. Yes. All right. Well played. Social selling. So
that's what they're calling. Oh man, I got to pull that back up so I can find that part where he's mentioning it. So let's pull
the definition part. By the way, make sure you follow Blake on Twitter. He's at TV's Blake Walley, Walley, and thenextlevelnews.com.
Yeah. So what Greg is saying here, he's saying when Democrats talk about their support for candidates and create bots as influencers, this is path modeling. It's a scientific method to change the hearts and minds of people to peddle influence over the masses. This is election interference. And it's important to note they are hiring firms. So there are hiring firms to create a divide. It's not exclusive to Democrats, but you should question all divisive content that aims to manufacture outrage with no balance. And here he goes. He says, and he called out Elon Musk. He says, in conclusion, hey, Elon, are you able to fight back against social selling? This seems to be the most dangerous use of accounts on Twitter. So that is what he's saying. So yeah, if you're manipulating public opinion with fake accounts, with crazy talking points, it's called social selling. And yeah, I would say it's dangerous. Is it the most dangerous? Maybe not. But just for the hell of it on this show, agree or disagree, I will agree. Brian,
well,
what do you think? Agree or disagree?
I'm going to disagree. I mean, this has been the cornerstone of American journalism since the inception of America. Ben Franklin,
before video, yeah, somebody just wrote an anonymous article, you wouldn't know where it came from. This has all been, it's the history of propaganda, absolutely.
Sorry. So for example, when Ben Franklin would write under pseudonyms for satirical purposes, or for 100 reasons he used them. Alice Addertongue was one of them. Richard Saunders. But Ben Franklin would write under a pseudonym nonstop. He, let's say, Benjamin Franklin, always willing to express a controversial opinion, often resorted to the use of invented names. He used pseudonyms not only to remain anonymous, but also in order to present two sides of an issue, like a point-counterpoint style of journalism. So, when it comes to this, there's a lot of reasons. Try offering your real opinion. We used to be able to say, yeah, try offering your actual opinion in Saudi Arabia. Try offering your actual opinion in Venezuela. Well, shit, try offering your real opinion in America. I mean, America's turned into a damn near dystopian nightmare. I mean, there's never been a more important time to write under an alias or a pseudonym. I don't know. I don't see it as all that bad.
Those are some great points, Brian. That is, good. Yeah, especially if one of those other countries, you won't want to use your real name. Especially
in America. I mean, we are being hunted. Like, the good people of this country are trying to be, well, you know what's going on. Anyway, so I would just say there's a time and a place for anonymous content. And I've seen a lot of parody accounts that are fantastic. They put ridiculous stuff out so that people can respond to tear these points of view down, which is what has been happening with those crazy tweets. So, I mean, the blowback against the crazy is solidifying that the majority opposes a wingnut position. So there's a value there. It doesn't necessarily make me think, well, Germany has radical ideas and they're trying to push nonsense. It's like, well, no, maybe they have normal ideas and they're trying to expose stupid ideas by putting them front and center, like libs of TikTok, for example, and let their own words speak for themselves. They just, here's an AI face and, here's this character, Goody Good Shoes, or whatever Ben Franklin used for that lady, ladylike, or whatever her name is. And then the comments, you get ratioed when you deserve it. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'll follow it. We can keep bringing it up as more perspectives come out, but that was my initial thought.
All right, no, it's good stuff. All right, lightning round for real. We got about 4 stories and about 10 minutes.
All right, we don't even have time for transitions. Blake, agree or disagree that the U.S. should deny entry to all commies and Marxies? And is the term Marxie a new slur that needs to be protected on the federal level?
I don't know about that. Yeah, it seems like a term of endearment to me. So I don't know if they would be offended by that or not. We'll have to ask a Marxist about that. But they'll never give you a real answer. So they tend to be manipulative by nature, perhaps, or maybe I'm wrong. But
naughty by nature, not because I hate you. I hate you. All right. So where did this story come from? You found something?
This came from President Trump. So why don't we take a look at this? It's actually only about a minute of this video, but it's
he's going to take up 1/10 of our lightning round time.
Exactly. All right, but it's
a political campaign speech.
Totally worth it. So here we go. Trump pledging to deny entry of all communists and Marxists into the United States.
Oh, okay.
A new plan to protect the integrity of our immigration system. Federal law prohibits the entry of communists and totalitarians into the United States? But my question is, what do we do with the ones that are already here that grew up in? I think we have to pass a new law for them. Using federal law in section 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, I will order my government to deny entry to all communists and all Marxists.
There's no net gain.
Those who come to and join our country must love our country. We want them to love our country. We don't want them when they want to destroy our country. Welcome to America. We want to destroy your country. Thank you very much. So we're going to keep foreign Christian-hating communists, Marxists, and socialists out of America. We're keeping them out of America.
Oh, he just flipped Christian-hating in there. That was.
When I was president, the world was stable and calm because America was respected and strong. Now, as we see in Russia and all of these other places, this whole world is on fire. This world is on fire. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine totally settled. I'll have it done in 24 hours. I say that, and I would do that. That's easy compared to some of the things. I'd get that done in 24 hours. I know them both. I know them both. Blessed are the peacemakers. I will be your peacemaker. I was your peacemaker.
All right.
This world is
Great
on fire. Okay, so that's the faith and
He's
freedom.
hilarious. I miss him so much.
I know.
I used to he'd drive the liberals crazy on Twitter. They'd be melting down every day. Oh, it's glorious. So I still believe, until they show me otherwise, they took it from him. So anyway, without getting into the weeds there, it's lightning round. But should the U.S. deny entry to all I agree. I don't think if people don't respect that, they want to come here to live in freedom and embrace our culture and be good citizens and make us better. If they're here to take us down and undermine and destroy us, they shouldn't be here. Period.
What do they say? Don't California my Texas?
Yeah, exactly. Now, I don't know about getting rid of the ones that are here. That's another story, as he said. That logistically, that's going to be challenging to do. As long as they're nonviolent, I don't care. I'd like to see they can engage in debate. And maybe they have some points. I'm not against even setting up social experiments where they can test their theories and what have you. I don't think they belong in America. Certainly, if they're not, immigrating over here.
How are you going to get them out of the education system? Seems like they've really taken over and ruined the mush minds of these poor kids who have been taught to hate themselves and see themselves as perpetual victims. I think it all starts with the education system, but we'll expand on that when we have a little bit more time. Blake, agree or disagree that the federal government is protecting child abusing rings online? I can't believe
you skipped the story that was asked about earlier from one of our listeners here. One of the top stories that we have not gotten to, but we will. So I was going to make a quick note on this one because that was great that I saw this out of Natural News. So there is a white hat hacker in Pennsylvania. He dismantled the world's largest pedophile ring, sent child rapists to prison.
That's like the plot of that movie with Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel, right?
Oh, I had a story from Jim Caviezel too today. That didn't make the cut about Christians being standing up for themselves more, but perhaps we'll cover it another time because it is an interesting topic. There were just too many more interesting topics today. But anyway, so this 29-year-old Ryan Montgomery of Pennsylvania, also known by his nickname O'Day, decided to start helping authorities dismantle child abuse networks after receiving a text message from a distressed friend 3 years ago. So he got into this nasty website and found a lot of horrifying things. And he reached out to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's Child Pornography Cyber Tip Line and sent them the entire damning database. And he never heard back from the nonprofit after he sent his tip. Can you believe that, Brian? If you were going to find a treasure trove in this awful dark web place where they're trafficking children and you got awful stuff on there, and you'd send it to the person you think you're going to be, like a hero, sending it to this center, and then they don't even say anything, you don't even hear back. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, it makes no, hold on. Well, I would disagree with that. I would say that I think number one, you need to establish a personal connection with somebody at the place. I could imagine they probably get sent a lot of stuff or unsolicited stuff that hasn't been vetted and they don't really know. And maybe they scrolled past it and didn't really even look at it. I don't know. I'm just saying I could theorize that could have happened. But if they spoke with Randy Stevens over there, and then said, "Hey, I'm sending you something," and then Randy took a look and had it, then okay. Then if Randy didn't do anything with it, okay, now we need to ask Randy a few questions. But shooting an email off and they don't even know who this guy is and he doesn't know them, I could imagine it wasn't. It's theoretically possible it wasn't even looked at. Or I'm not opening a link. This could be God knows what from God knows who. I don't need malware on my computer. But
what kind of information are they going to get from a center?
I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's just a single kidnapping or something. Or no, but that's for children's child pornography. So if they're sending that and they're trying to crack down, then why aren't they following up? So I guess there's somebody in Project Veritas that are gonna, but there's been some arrests, so they've still done this. They've been covered about 500 people, and some of the top people were arrested from this, but they're not even covering this in the mainstream media. And like I said, that federal center was not, doing what you think they would do. So you wonder if they're actually there to protect the pedos rather than actually targeting them. And a lot of that people have been criticizing the FBI for a long time because they could be doing a lot more in this fight, and they don't seem to be doing their jobs. That's all I've got on that.
How are there so many bad people involved in such disgusting things? It's shocking. Okay. Speaking about shocking, Blake, two last stories. The stash of cocaine found at the White House is likely Hunter Biden's. Agree or disagree?
Absolutely agree. I mean, who else would it be? And so Hunter Biden catches the July 4th fireworks with Joe at the White House hours after possible cocaine found on the premises. So they started freaking out. I'm kind of surprised by this, but it seems like we do know Hunter Biden is he engages with the hardcore drugs. He likes to party, and he's got to go hang out at the White House. And how would you smuggle something like that in? But it'd be a lot easier, of course, if you were the president's son. You would think if you were just a staffer there doing your regular job for what have you, you wouldn't probably try to sneak a bag of cocaine into the White House. But this is also kind of weird because I would assume Bill Clinton probably back in the day was doing just piles of blow. So it seems like it's probably not the first time that there's been cocaine in the White House. It's strange to see this huge uproar. But then you're also coming on the heels of this story from Hunter Biden filming himself smoking crack and driving 172 miles an hour to Las Vegas. So he's the gift that keeps giving, Brian. He's always engaged in some awful stuff with illicit drugs and hookers. And now he's even driving 100. I mean, the spoiled president or, VP's son who just does anything he wants. I mean, he's, in a certain way, he's got a great life. He's just a total scumbag, and it's bad. It looks like he's compromised with the first family. So anyway, so that's interesting. So what do you think, Brian? Do you think that cocaine, if they found it in the White House, do you think it probably belongs to Hunter or somebody else?
It could belong to Joe. I mean, what kind of magic dust is it keeping that guy upright all day?
I think they probably got to inject him with the meth or something. I think that would probably be easier to get to feel, just like JFK. I love JFK, but he had some issues, and I think they had Dr. Feelgood. They had to inject him up with some meth once in a while to keep him going. And I'm sure that they probably do something similar, some designer amphetamines that they have to give the president, the puppet resident Joe.
Well, I tweeted out at American_media_ Simon Ateba, I think the guy's name is, and he kind of walked through what they're blaming it on now. They're saying it was found in an area where there was construction and renovation, kind of trying to say, no, it was the workers. No, it was these workers who were doing construction that might have left it. But apparently they're changing the story to where they found it so they can try to spin the story. Yeah. Same crap you always get from Karine Jean-Pierre and anything right. Biden. It's all happy horse crap. So
imagine, well, you gotta feel sorry for Hunter too, because that poor guy, he had to go to Camp David, and then he realized, oh shit, where's my bag of Coke? Like, how am I supposed to enjoy Camp David for a whole weekend and I don't have my bag with me? I
forgot my stash. I got to drive 170 miles an hour back to go get it. Blake
is probably called Secret Service and said, hey, can you find a bag and just don't say anything? Can you just bring that over? I lost my, I don't know what he's going to call it, but
from one white powder to another. What is Ice Wars?
Ice Wars. I guess it's going to be, I don't want to call it a new sport, but maybe it is. It's going to be all it's Ice Wars. It's all of the fighting, none of the hockey, set for a U.S. debut in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And so far it's only legally sanctioned there and in Florida. So it's basically just two guys beating the crap out of each other while on skates. It's going to be 2 1-minute rounds. And, so it's going to be basically a lot of like former hockey players
all for obvious reasons.
Right. Because it's, a lot of guys can fight, but to fight on ice skates is a totally different art form. And so that could be exciting. It's the newest in combat sports. They're going to make sure that they have to wear helmets that are like they can't take off, and they have the gloves, like the MMA style gloves, okay. So they can't do too much damage.
No stabbing, no slicing.
Right, but it's going to be your regular hockey goons. Yeah. So
hockey goons. Well, look, if we can watch Joey Chestnut eating stuff in his face full of hot dogs to celebrate Independence Day and putting that as on the front page of ESPN as a big news story, I guess we can watch ice fighting, Ice Wars. I would watch that. I'd watch it once. We'll see what happens with it. Kenneth B says that's hockey pucked up. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's better than the slap fighting, because that was actually pretty gruesome when they were.
I don't like that at all. I don't like lady fighting. I don't like Dana's slap fighting. There's a lot that I don't care for. All right, Blake, we know you got to run. Tell us where to find you one more time.
TV's Blake Walley on Twitter, and of course thenextlevelnews.com, where the archive will be. Thank you, everybody. It's been awesome. Great job, Brian. Fantastic show. We'll do it again. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
Tomorrow the day? Are we going tomorrow?
We'll see if we got some good stuff to cover. But otherwise, So everyone have a great one, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you very much. All right, guys. I'm out.
See ya. All right, there goes Blake, everybody. Go follow him in all of the places. And like I said, the Agree to Disagree show and the New American Media. Follow us in all of the places. I want to thank each and every one of you for jumping in and participating in our program today. Much appreciated. So much to talk about. That's we cover the news nonstop on our various networks: Signal, Telegram, Rumble, YouTube, Twitter, Truth Social, Parler. Just follow us everywhere, and make sure that you're following Blake and myself, the New American Media, the Agree to Disagree show. Anywhere we are, follow it, because if one of them gets shut down, we're not going to stop. We're just going to be on the other place. So, in advance of what we might be heading into, make sure you're following us everywhere. I appreciate that. Tora Tanaka, the original Ice Warrior. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, happy America Day. Hope you enjoyed your independence moment yesterday, and we hope you get some wonderful moments of independence once this show ends. Have some good food, have some good times, and we might, if we can find enough stories enough to talk about, we might do another show tomorrow. So tune in. We try to go live around 3:00 Eastern time. Try to stick to that pretty closely. Did a longer show today than usual. We've been doing 30 to 60-minute shows with Blake, roughly, maybe 50-minute shows. But yeah, today he told us we had a little bit extra time, so we gave you a little bit of an extra show. I could do this every day. I really could, especially with your participation. It makes it fun because there's the interesting perspectives I hadn't thought of, and you bring that to light, and you make some funny jokes, which we appreciate. So anyhow, for everybody out there in the TNAM universe, we appreciate you. We love you, and we'll talk to you again soon.